your first question is, what do I think of his name, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow? I don't know. I don't really know what to think of his name. It's his name. I like Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, and he usually wrote poems that were narratives, and I prefer narratives because I enjoy reading a story much more than I enjoy analyzing a poem. I hate analyzing poetry. Your second question had to do with him standing under a tree and then later mentioning that the kids walked through the door. Well, first of all, if you read the poem carefully enough, you'll see that it does say he's standing under the tree. I don't have the poem, but something under a tree, the village smithy stands. Your next question was about his arm. I don't know where you got the poem that you're reading, if your book is all sorts of weird, because every source that I've looked at with the poem says arms. It says his brawny arms. So where you got arm, singular, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what face like the tan is supposed to mean. I mean, I would assume it means that his face is tanned or browned in some way. I love the part when they say they play with the sparks. Did you not play with sparklers on the 4th of July? We had the sticks that you light on fire and you drop things in the air. I don't know, playing with sparks is always fun. It's not very much a sad story at all, honestly, and you say how they had this really happy story and then, oh, his wife died. No, the story is just very somber. I think he's just telling, you know, there was this man, he worked really hard, and everybody respected him, and the children came and watched him, and people trusted him, and he went to church all the time, he brought his kids to church, he sat there, and he managed to get through life and be this upstanding citizen, even though his wife had died. I don't think it's necessarily a sad story, it's just a very somber and honestly rather humbling story. Once again, back to the book that you have written, if you look, it should say daughter apostrophe S. Daughter's voice. 1, voice was singular, 2, daughter was singular, and then there was the apostrophe S, the voice belongs to daughter. Obviously only one daughter. As far as sons, I don't know, at least 2, because it was plural. So there's your poem. Now I have a couple poems for myself. I don't usually like poetry very much. I don't like analyzing it, but the few poems that I do love, I absolutely love, and I have them memorized. Of all the poems that I've memorized, I absolutely love Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. I'm sure you've heard it, or at least heard of it. If not, here you go. Some say the world will end in fire. Some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if I had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. And I just think it's interesting. What's your thoughts on the poem? Would you pick fire or ice if you had the option? I could share a lot of poems with you that I love, but I don't want this video to be excessively long. I love Harlem by Langston Hughes. That's the one about the raisin in the sun. I love Emily Dickinson. My favorite thing about Emily Dickinson is that all of her poems are titled by the first line because she never titled any of her poems. My favorite of Emily Dickinson's poems is actually Success is Counted Sweetest. That's the line, success is counted sweetest by those who ne'er succeed. But of all the poems that I could share with you, my absolute favorite poem in the entire world is William Shakespeare's sonnet number 116. It's often referred to as the love sonnet. I love this poem. It does a lot about love, and I think it's great. So Shakespeare's sonnet 116 delves into what love is and how people view love. So after you hear the poem, share with me what's your thoughts on the poem. Do you agree with Shakespeare's view of love? Do you understand the poem fully? And then what's your thoughts on Shakespeare in general? So yeah, here you go. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments, but love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. No, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempest and is never shaken. It's the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, whose rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never read, nor no man ever loved.